Hi everyone, welcome to Eco Learning Classes. This is Professor Geeta Mahesh. Dear students, we will be discussing objective oriented questions, 2-mark questions and practical oriented questions in this session. And from this you can expect 48 marks. Now let us start. Choose the correct answer. If you are in job, you are working for payment, you are called unemployed, leader, employee, trustee. When you are working for payment, definitely you are called as employee. Scarcity is the root of all economic problems, social problems, political problems, all problems. We are dealing with economics, so scarcity is the root of all economic problems. The long queues at railway station, bus stand, cinema, theatres are all manifestation of publicity, scarcity, plenty, quantity. So it is a scarcity. Because of scarcity, you can see long queues at railway station, bus stand, cinema, theatres. So it is scarcity. Alternative use of resources give rise to problem of choice. The subject is mainly around the study of mankind in the ordinary business of life. So we know this definition was given by Alfred Marshall. According to Marshall, economics is a study of mankind in ordinary business of life. Which method of collection of data gives a better result? So in the statistical survey, which method you are going to get a best result or better result means sample survey. Which of the following error is more serious? Non-sampling error is more serious because sampling error can be eradicated by taking a large number of samples. The method of collection of data in which reaction can be watched is personal interview. The class midpoint is equal to average of upper and lower class limit, product of upper and lower class limit, ratio of upper and lower class limit. So this is average of upper and lower class limit. The frequency distribution of two variables is known as univariate classification, bivariate classification, multivariate classification, none of the above. The frequency distribution of two variable, two means bi, so it is bivariate classification. Statistical calculations in classified data are based on actual values of observation, upper class limits, lower class limits, the class midpoints. Those statistical calculations will be considered the midpoints. Under exclusive methods, upper class limits of the class is excluded in the class interval. Upper class limits of a class is included in the class interval. Lower class limits of a class is excluded in the class interval. Lower class limits of the class is included in the class interval. Exclusive method, under exclusive method, upper limits of the class is excluded. Range is the difference between largest and smallest value of variable, average of largest and smallest observation, ratio of largest to the smallest values of a variable, none of the above. So it is definitely the difference between the largest and the smallest values of a variable. Data are presented in sentence are called textual presentation. A histogram is a one-dimensional diagram, two-dimensional diagram, three-dimensional diagram, four-dimensional diagram. So histograms are drawn against a continuous series. So it is a two-dimensional diagram. Frequency polygon is used in the presentation of grouped data, ungrouped data, both the types of data, none of this. So frequency polygon used to present grouped data. Data are expressed in rows and columns is called table. Ogives can be helpful in calculating graphically the mode, median, mean, none of the above. It is median. 5 students obtained 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 marks respectively. What would be the mean? So how will you calculate mean? We know the formula x bar equals summation x divided by n. If we add all these values, you are going to get a 150 divided by how many? 5. So divided by 5 is equal to 30. So the right answer is 30. X bar equals summation x divided by n is concerned with arithmetic mean. The most commonly used measure of central tendency is arithmetic mean or mean, you can say. Which of the following is represents median? So median is nothing but the middlemost value. So here Q2 is the right answer. Percentage divides the distribution equal into, so percentage usually we calculate for 100. So it is divides into 100 parts. Quartiles are measures which divide the data into quartiles 4. So 4 equal parts. Assign weights to various items according to their importance is called arithmetic mean, median, no, weighted arithmetic mean. So weights are considered to give weightage. So it is weighted arithmetic mean. What would be the median wage for the following wages of 5 laborers? You can consider here 10, 20, 30, 35, 38. So median, the middlemost value. In this it is arranged. When it is arranged, the middlemost value is 30. So right answer is 30. Whose estimate of per capita income of India during colonial period was considered very significant? And that is V.K.R.V. Rao. Railway transport introduced in India in the year 1850. The present life expectancy of India is 64.8 years. During British rule, more than half of India's foreign trade was restricted to Britain. In India, census is carried out once in 10 years, which is not the goal of 5-year plans. 5-year plans, if you consider, there are 4 goals of 5-year plan: growth, modernization, equality and self-reliance. So left out is self-efficiency, which is not a goal of 5-year plans. The first phase of Green Revolution achieved approximately the mid-1960 to mid-1970. Poverty line separates poor and non-poor. In pre-independent India, he was the first to discuss the concept of poverty line, that is Dadabhai Naoroji. Some are rich most of the time, may sometime have a patch of bad luck. They are called occasionally poor. The Act provides guaranteed wage employment to every poor household for minimum of 100 days in a year, called MGNREGA, Magnarega. Who can work better in the following? A person with a sound health. What percent of GDP as estimated by TAPS Mujumdar Committee should spend for education? That is 6%. Education for all, still not a distant dream. Dear student, till now we discussed multiple choice from which you can get a 5 on 5. Now let us discuss fill in the blanks. When you buy goods, you are called a consumer. When you produce goods, you are called a producer. When you sell goods for profit, you are called a seller. Resources are limited but wants are unlimited. Data, numbers, equations are being used in statistics. Data collected by investigator is called blank primary data. The method of interview in obtaining information at a short time is telephone interview. The most expensive method of interview is personal interview. The method of data collected which cannot be used by illiterates are mailing questionnaire. Census of India is carried out once in dash year, that is 10 years. Data classified according to geographical area is called spatial classification. Classification of data according to characteristics and attributes is called qualitative classification. Two ends of class are called class limits. Blank is the average of upper and lower limit of a class, midpoint. In dash method of classification, upper limits of class is included, inclusive method. Frequency distribution of discrete frequency is called frequency array. Arithmetic line graph is also called time series graph. Component bar diagrams are also called sub-diagrams. Blank of the table contains actual data, body of the table. Blank arithmetic mean gives relative importance to each item, weighted arithmetic mean. Third quartile and blank percentile is the same. Third, so 75, so 70th percentile is the same. There are blank quartiles in a series, 3. Blank is not affected by extreme values, that is median. Most frequently observed value in a series is called mode. A distribution with more than 2 modes is called bimode. The share of workforce remained in agriculture during British rule was 85%. Before independence, India's jute industries concentrated in blank part of the country, western part. Under colonial rule, cotton textile industries dominated by Indians. Blank is the year of second stage of demographic transition of India, 1921. Blank transport is considered as most important contribution of British rule, that is railways. The chairperson of Planning Commission, Prime Minister. Small scale industries use dash than large scale industries, more labor. Blank was the main purpose of industrial policy resolution or policy. Regional equality. Reforms were introduced during 1991. Blank regulates financial sector. RBI regulates financial sector. WTO was founded in blank 1995. A tax on incomes of individuals is called income tax. The causes of poverty lie in the institutional and dash factors that mark the lives of poor, institutional and social factors. Most poverty elevation programs implemented is based on the perspective of 5-year plans, that is 2002-2007. Blank impoverished millions of poor in India, British Raj. Economists identify poor on the basis of their occupation and ownership of assets. Investment on education is considered as one of the main sources of human capital. Government of India has also started levying a 2% of blank on all union taxes, education cess. The revenues from education cess has been earmarked for spending on elementary education. The contribution of educated person to economic growth is more than that of an illiterate person. Dear students, till now we discussed fill in the blanks, and from fill in the blanks also you can score 5 on 5. Now let us discuss match the following. Personal interview, more expensive. Mailing questionnaire, loss of questionnaire. Telephone interview, it is cheaper or relatively low cost. Pilot survey, pre-testing of questionnaire. Census covers every individual. Arithmetic mean, x bar. Median, positional value. N stands for total number of observations. Q1, Q2, P25, P50, they are called divisional values. 3, N plus 1 divided by 4, that is nothing but third quartile, that is Q3. Prime Minister, the chairperson of Planning Commission. Quotas, quantity of imported. Land reforms, improvement in the field of agriculture to increase their productivity. HYV seeds, seeds that give large proportion of output. Subsidies, monetary assistance given by government for production activities. More contribution to national income, skilled laborer. Dutch Bank, Global Growth Centers. World Bank, India and the knowledge economy. Educational achievements, literacy rate. Better gender equity, a positive development. Dear students, if you consider first 5 chapters of part A and part B, there are 5 practical oriented questions. In the exam, they will ask 3 questions. Out of 3, you need to attend 2. Each question carries 5. So easily you can score 10 marks if you learn these practical oriented questions. Okay. Suppose you are a research student and you are asked to conduct a sample survey about midday meals program in school. Prepare a good questionnaire to support your locality. First, we should ask general questions, then we should move to particular questions. First one, name of the student, age, gender, male or female, they have to tick according to the gender. Which class are you? Then you should start, since how many years are you in the school? Thereafter, you should start particular questions related to our survey. Since how long are you getting midday meals? In what form do you get? So you should give options here. Option A, B, C. Here cooked meals, dry ration, others specify. If there is others, other form, then they have to specify. If it is cooked midday meals, do you eat in the school premises? If they have to take yes or no. If they say no, you should ask reason. What are the reason? And you have to give options here. Share food with the family in home. Eat midday meals with other members. Quantity is not sufficient. Others, they have to specify. You have to give the space. Then the last, after eating midday meals, do you feel good? Yes, no, cannot say. So if you write these 10 questions, then easily you can get a 5 marks. Now let us discuss construction of pie chart for the following data. The data is given and we need to make a solution table like this: status, population and degrees. Degrees will be calculated individual value here, individual value divided by total value into 360 degrees. Okay, here you can see marginal workers 12 they have given, and you have to calculate this. How you will calculate 12 divided by what is the total here? 121 into 360 degrees. See, if we total this one, you will get 120, and each status value you have to consider as individual value, and if we calculate, you will get a 35.7. So we will make it a round figure as a 36 degrees. Next one is the main workers, 36 divided by 121 into 360. If you do this, you are going to get a 107.1. So we will make it a round figure as 107 degrees. Then 73 divided by 121 into 360. If we divide and multiply with the 360 degrees, then you are going to get a 217.1, and we are going to make it a round figure as 217. If we add all these three degrees, then the total you are going to get is 360 degrees. Now let us construct a circle and mark this one. Okay, here we are going to draw a circle with the help of compass and find out the center point and draw the radius. After drawing the radius, use the protractor and place the protractor on this line and mark for the 36. Find out the value 36 and join this one and mark it as 36 degrees. Then take out the protractor and place on this newly drawn line, and we are moving anti-clockwise. So keep it on this line, and this has to be you have to draw the line with a scale, and it has to be a single line, and place the protractor on this and mark for 107, and 107 if you mark, you will get it like this, 107, and this we mark it as 107 degrees. The left out will be 217 degrees for non-workers. Okay, Makla. As it is a subdivided diagram, you have to shade this one. For main workers, I am going to use the design that is checks. And for marginal workers, I will be using bubbles. And for non-workers, I will be using the design. I will make a design of waves. After designing, you can use different designs like stars and all. So after making this, you have to give an index. What you need to give? You need to give index. So here we are going to write an index. So marginal workers we shaded with the bubbles, are designed with the bubbles. You have to make a bubbles. Then for main workers, I have taken a checks. So fill this with the checks. And next, for non-workers, the design which I have selected is waves. Okay, like this you have to make even index. You have to prepare index for pie chart. So one is solution table, then draw a circle with the compass, and after that use the protractor to mark these degrees. After marking a degrees, it has to be shaded with the different designs, and for after designing, for that you have to give an index. Now let us discuss. As per recorded temperature per 2 hours in a day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. calculate the average and mean temperature of the day. How will you find out a range and a mean temperature of a day? So range, what is the formula for range? In the observation, you have to consider largest value and the smallest value and find the difference between largest and smallest. That will be the range. So here the highest value, recorded value is 30, largest value is 30, and the smallest value in this observation is 18. So the difference between the largest value and smallest value is 12. So the range is 12. Now you need to find out a mean. What is the formula for mean? X bar is equal to summation of x divided by n. So if you are going to add 18 plus 24 plus 26 plus 29 plus 30 plus 25 divided by number of observations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have to take n as 6. If you do this, you are going to get 152 divided by 6. If you do 152 divided by 6, you are going to get 25.33. So the mean value or mean temperature of the day is 25.33. Dear students, now one more practical oriented question, that is identify the following banks as agriculture, industry, nationalized, private and foreign banks. Here they have given ICICI, Canara Bank, HSBC, NABARD and IDBI. What is ICICI? Industrial Credit and Investment Corporation of India, and it is a private bank. Canara Bank is a nationalized bank. HSBC is a foreign bank. NABARD is an agricultural bank, and IDBI, that is Industrial Development Bank of India, so it is an industrial bank. NABARD is a national bank for agriculture and rural development, so it is a agricultural bank. Now one more practical oriented is write the chart of poverty line. So here categorizing poverty, there are many ways to categorize poverty. So here we categorized in major, that is aggregate categories are of 3 types: chronic poor, transient poor, non-poor. Who are chronic poor means those who are living below the poverty line for a long period. They are called as chronic poor. Then who are transient poor means those who are living sometimes above the poverty line and some other time they will be below the poverty line. That means they come below the poverty line and sometimes they will live above the poverty line. These people who are living above the poverty line, but sometimes unfortunately they live below the poverty line, so that we call it as transient poor. Who are non-poor means who always live above the poverty line, they are called as non-poor. The specific categories are given here. Chronic poor of 2 types, and that is who is always poor, they never come above the poverty line, and usually poor, all the times they will be poor, only in because of some luck sometimes they will go up and again they will come below the poverty line. Transient poor also 2 types. Okay, one is churning poor, that means they will go in and out, they will be moving up and down. And occasionally poor, always they will be above the poverty line, because of some bad luck, no, they will come below the poverty line, again they will move above the poverty line. So such type of poverty we call it as occasionally they will become a poor. Then the non-poor, that is never poor, that means they never become below the poverty line. So if you make or construct this poverty line chart, then you will get a 5 marks. Now let us learn 1 mark questions. What is economics according to Alfred Marshall? Economics is a study of mankind in ordinary business of life. What are economic data? Economic facts are numerically expressed. National income is divided into wages, profit, rent, interest. What it is called? Distribution of national income among factors of production. What are statistics? Statistics. Numerical facts are systematically presented. What is a variable? Values which keeps changing from time to time. Year to year are called as variables. Write the meaning of census. A survey which includes every element of population is known as census. What is sample survey? Sample refers to a group or section of population or universe from which the information is to be obtained. Give the meaning of sample error. Sampling error refers to the difference between sample estimate and the actual value of characteristics of the population. Expand NSSO, National Sample Survey Office. Expand CSO, Central Statistical Office. Expand DGCIS, Directorate General of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics. What is raw data? Unclassified data are called as raw data. What do you mean by qualitative classification of data? Classification of data on the basis of attributes or qualities is called as qualitative classification of data. What is quantitative classification of data? Classification of data on the basis of characteristics like weight, height, income, production, etc. are called as quantitative classification of data because they are quantitative in nature. Give the meaning of class limit. Class limits are two ends of class. The lower value is a lower limit and highest value is the upper limit or upper class limit. What is univariate frequency distribution? The frequency distribution of single variable is called as univariate frequency distribution. Give the meaning of time series data. If the data are classified on the basis of time, such as weeks, months, year, etc., then it is called as time series data. What is spatial classification of data? If the data are classified with reference to geographical locations such as countries, states, district, etc., then it is called as spatial classification of data. What is pie chart? A pie diagram is a chart of circular shape broken into subdivisions. Each division shows different components. What do you mean by frequency polygon? A frequency polygon is a plain border by a straight line, usually 4 or more lines. Or frequency polygon is an alternative to histogram and is also derived from histogram itself. What is multiple bar diagram? Multiple bar diagram represents two or more sets of data simultaneously. What is table? Systematic arrangement of data in rows and columns is called as table. What is meant by central tendency? Central tendency means which gives a single value that describes the characteristics of the entire data. What is the meaning of arithmetic mean? Arithmetic mean is defined as value obtained by adding together the value of all the items. This sum is divided by total number of items. Define median. Median is a positional value of variable which divides the distribution into two equal parts. The pocket money of 8 students is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42 and 48. Calculate arithmetic mean. How you are going to calculate arithmetic mean? The formula is x bar equals summation x divided by n. That is, if I add all this 6 plus 12 plus 18, that is 6 plus 12 plus 18 plus 24 plus 30 plus 36 plus 42 plus 48, then you are going to get a 216. Number of observation are the money of 8 students we are talking, so divided by 8. If you do, you are going to get a 174 rupees as a arithmetic mean. Write the formula for weighted mean. So weighted mean, you are going to write a formula, that is summation Wx divided by summation W. What do you mean by percentiles? Percentiles divides the distribution into 100 equal parts. So you can get 99 dividing portions. What is bimodal? If a series have two values of mode, then the data is a bimodal. Calculate mode from the following data. Here data is given and that has to be arranged in a proper manner. And here see, 8 is repeated only 2 times, but 10 is repeated 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 18 repeated 2. So 10 is mode because it repeated 10 times. Okay. So mode is nothing but the value which is repeated for the highest number of times. Name the important revenue settlement system during the British rule, that is zamindars or zamindar system. Expand Tesco, Tata Iron and Steel Company. What is capital goods industry? Capital goods industries means industries which can produce machine tools which are in turn used for producing articles for current consumption. When was official census carried out in India? Before independence, that is 1881, and after independence it was 1951. Why did colonial government ban canal transport? Because inland waterways at times proved non-economical, as in case of canal transport, and it failed to compete with the railway transport. So the cost of inland waterways or canal transport was very costly compared to railways, so they banned canal transport. Define planning. A plan is a document showing the detailed scheme, program, strategy out in advance for fulfilling an object. What do you mean by land reforms? Equity in agriculture called for land reforms, which is primarily refers to change in the ownership of land holdings. What is marketed surplus? The proportion of agricultural produce which is sold in the market by farmers is called marketable surplus. Give the meaning of land ceiling. Land ceiling means fixing the maximum size of land which could be owned by an individual. Mention any one public sector industry. Telecommunication. Give the meaning of gross domestic product. Gross domestic product refers to total money value of all goods and services produced in a country in a year. What is liberalization? Liberalization is a process of removing government control and restrictions on economic activities. Give the meaning of poverty. Poverty refers transfer of ownership or management of public enterprises to private enterprises. What is globalization? Globalization refers to opening up of country's economy to world economy. Expand IBRD. International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Expand GATT. General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. What do you mean by outsourcing? In outsourcing, a company hires regular service from external source, mostly from other countries, which was earlier provided internally or within the country. Give the meaning of poverty line. It is a situation in which section of people in a country unable to get a minimum basic needs like food, clothing, housing, education, health facilities. Why poor are physically weak? Because of malnutrition, ill health, disability makes poor physically weak. Who are churning poor? Churning poor who are regularly move in and out of poverty. Define poverty line as per the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission of India estimates poverty line on the basis of minimum calories or nutritional calories required for rural and urban poor, or those who are living in urban and rural area. The minimum calories intake per day was estimated 2,400 calories for the people who are living in rural area, and those who are living in urban area, their calories intake should be 2,100. What is head count ratio? Number of poor estimated as the proportion of people below the poverty line, known as a head count ratio. What program has the government adopted to help elderly people, poor and destitute women? National Social Assistance Program. Through this program, they are going to help these type of people. Expand NCERT, National Council of Educational Research and Training. State the reasons for migration. People migrate one place to another in search of job and enhanced or better salaries. Expand UGC, University Grants Commission. Expand ICMR, Indian Council for Medical Research. Now let us discuss 2-mark questions. Generally, in which 3 parts economics is discussed? Consumption, production and distribution. Mention the difference between employee and employer. If you consider employee who works under another person, he gets reward as agreed. Before getting a job, there will be a discussion about the salary, and according to that he will get a payment. Loss or profit, he will not have share. But employer, a person who employs other people. So employer who brings other 3 factors of production, land, labor, capital, he is called as a employer. He gets profit as a reward after paying 3 factors of production in the form of rent, wages, interest, that we call it as factors reward. His profit may be positive or negative. Negative means loss. Mention any 2 scarcities in your daily life. So it is important. Electricity and water. Write any 2 resources which have alternative uses. Water, coal, milk can be used for many purposes. Okay, so in this is important, this is important, this is very important. Now mention any 2 sources of data, primary data and secondary data. Important. Write any 2 qualities of a good questionnaire. Questionnaire should not be too long. The series of questions should be moved from general to specific. So important. Mention the methods of collecting data. Personal interview, mailing questionnaire, telephone interview. Important for 2 marks. Write the difference between census and sample survey. A survey which includes every element of population known as census. Sample refers to group or section of population from which information is to be obtained. Okay, so 2 marks, each one you will get a 1 mark. Name two methods of selecting sample in a random sampling. You can use lottery method and random number method. Give the meaning of pilot survey. Once question is ready, it is advisable to conduct try out with a small group, which is known as pilot survey or pre-testing of questionnaire. Mention two types of variables: continuous variables and discrete variables. Differentiate between inclusive and exclusive method of classification. In the inclusive methods, in inclusive method does not exclude upper class limit of a class interval. It includes upper class limits in a class. But under exclusive excludes the upper limit of a class interval. Give or mention the types of classification of data. You can classify as chronological, spatial, quantitative and qualitative classification. Give the formula to find out a midpoint. Midpoint is nothing but upper class limit plus lower class limit divided by 2. What is frequency? Frequency refers to number of times a particular observation is repeated. Name any four parts of tabulation: table number, title, headnote, body of the table. What are the types of bar diagram? Simple bar diagram, multiple bar diagram, component bar diagram. What is component bar diagram? Give the example. Component bar diagram, also called as sub diagram or subdivided bar diagram, and are very useful in comparing the size of different components of the parts. Okay, a component bar diagram shows bars and its subdivision into two or more components. Good example is expenditure pattern in a typical Indian family. How can you obtain a frequency curve? Frequency curve is obtained by drawing a smooth freehand curve passing through the points of frequency polygon as closely as possible. What kind of diagrams are more effective in representing the following? Rainfall, that is monthly rainfall in a year, composition of population of Delhi by religion. You can use for monthly rainfall in a year arithmetic line graph, and composition of population of Delhi by religion you can use component bar diagram. What are the types of measures of central tendency? Arithmetic mean, median, mode. Calculate arithmetic mean for the following data. So how will you find out arithmetic mean? Here the number of students are 10 and their marks has been given. Add all this, that is 30 plus 62 plus 47 plus 25 plus 52 plus 39 plus 56 plus 66 plus 12 plus 24. Then you are going to get a 413 divided by 10. If you do, you are going to get 41.3. So what is the formula for calculating arithmetic mean? X bar equals summation of x divided by n. Summation of x means the values you have to add and divided by number of values. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So like that you have to count, because they have given marks of 10 students. So it has to be divided by 10. Calculate the value of median from the following figure. So they have given the value here and it has to be arranged in a ascending or descending order, and we have arranged in a ascending order. And what is the formula? N plus 1 divided by 2. So here how many observations are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 plus 1 is 10 divided by 2, means you have to consider a fifth item. So here when you arrange this in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the fifth value? 9 is the fifth value. So the right answer or the median is 9. How do you classify model series? Model series can be classified as unimodal, bimodal or multimodal. What is mode? Give the formula to find out mode in continuous series. Mode is the most frequently observed data or value. So formula is L1 plus F1 minus F0 divided by 2 F1 minus F0 minus F2 into C. So what is the formula for mode? Mode is equal to L1 plus F1 minus F0 divided by 2 F1 minus F0 minus F2 into, you can put a bracket, then into C. What was the objective of economic policies pursued by colonial government in India? Economic policies pursued by colonial government in India were concerned more with the protection and promotion of economic interest of their home country, means British country, than with the development of Indian economy. They formulate their policies in that way. It has to protect and promote economic interest of Britain and not Indian economy. List out the important export goods of India before independence. Raw silk, cotton, wool, sugar, indigo, jute, etc. are the most important export goods. What were the main causes of India's agricultural stagnation during colonial period? Because of various land settlements, particularly zamindari system was implemented, low level of technology, lack of irrigational facilities, negligible use of fertilizers led to low level of agricultural productivity. Name the modern industries which were in operation in our country at the time of independence. That modern industries were cotton textile mills, jute mills, iron and steel company, Tata Iron and Steel Company, sugar industry, cement industry, paper industry, etc. State the features of pre-independence occupational structure. Occupational structure means distribution of workforce among different sectors of an economy. Predominance of agriculture sector. People dependent on agriculture was large share of workforce, which was 72. The industrial sector contributes 10% and service sector 18% respectively. Growing regional variation. In the states of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, West Bengal, the dependence of workforce on agriculture sector declined, whereas the states of Orissa, Rajasthan, Punjab, it has increased. Mention the economic activities confined to public sector in pre-independence India. Economic activities confined to public sector are railways, power generation, communication, ports, and some other departmental undertakings. What are the infrastructural facilities developed during colonial rule? Railways, ports, water transport, post and telegraphs are infrastructure facilities developed during colonial rule. What are the goals of 5-year plans? The goals of 5-year plan are growth, modernization, self-reliance, equity. Write 2 advantages of small-scale industries. The 2 advantages are small-scale industries are more labor-intensive and small-scale industries need less capital. Why states had played an extensive role in promoting industrial sector. At the time of independence, Indian industries did not have capital to undertake investment in industrial ventures required for the development of our economy. Hence, there was a need for the state to play an extensive role in the promoting industrial sector. Give the meaning of tariffs and quotas. Tariffs refers to tax which is imposed on goods which are imported. Quota refers to the quantity of goods that can be imported. Give the meaning of industrial licensing. Industrial licensing refers to every entrepreneur had to get a permission from the government officials to start a firm, close a firm, or decide the amount of goods that could be produced. Mention 4 objectives of trade policy. Dismantling of quantitative restrictions on imports and exports, reduction of licensing procedure for imports, removal restrictions have been liberalized. What do you mean by or what is fiscal policy? The tax reforms are concerned with reforms in government's taxation, public expenditure policies which work collectively known as fiscal policy. What are the services of outsourcing? The services of outsourcing are voice-based service, record keeping, accountancy, banking services, clinical services, teaching services, etc. What do you mean by disinvestment? Disinvestment refers to the process of transferring the ownership from public sector to private people through the sale of equity of public enterprises to private sector. Give the meaning of direct and indirect tax. Direct tax, income tax, corporate tax, wealth tax, gift tax, etc. Indirect tax examples are sales tax, service tax, custom duty, entertainment tax, etc. List out the features of poorest household. The features of poorest household are starvation, hunger, lack of basic literacy and skill. Who are urban poor? Give example. Urban poor are overflow of rural poor into urban area. Example, pushcart vendor, street cobblers, beggars, rag pickers, etc. Who are rural poor? Give example. Rural poor are identified on the basis of their occupation and ownership of assets. Example, landless agricultural laborers, tenants, and cultivators with a small land holdings, etc. What are the social factors that triggers and perpetuate the poverty? Illiteracy, ignorance, backwardness, inadequate of social structure, narrow outlook affected the quality of life of people. Their employability are the social which cause the poverty. Name the self-employment generation programs of government for poor. Swarna Jayanti Gram Swarozgar Yojana, Swarna Jayanti Shahari Rozgar Yojana, Pradhana Mantri Rozgar Yojana are self-employment programs. List the programs that aims at improving the food and nutritional status of the poor means public distribution system, integrated child development skill, midday meals scheme. List out the factors that prevent the successful implementation of poverty elevation programs. Unequal distribution of land and other assets. Non-poors are getting the benefit of poverty elevation programs. Non-participation of local level institution and lack of active involvement of poor. State the need of investment on human capital. Human capital refers to skill, knowledge, experience possessed by an individual or population viewed in terms of their value to an organization of a country. Why individuals spend money on education? With the object of increase their future income, they will make investment on education. The two major sources of human capital are investment on education and health expenditure. What are the indicators of educational achievements in a country means? The achievement indicators are adult literacy level, primary education completion rate, youth literacy rate. What are the factors contribute to human capital formation? Investment on education, investment on health, investment on the job training, investment on migration, investment on information. What are the various forms of health expenditures? Preventive medicine, curative medicine, social medicine, provision of clean drinking water, good sanitation are various forms of health expenditures. Dear students, if you like, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.